Let me just start off by saying, welcome to Canada. This is my backyard, and as you can see by all the fog, it's so white outside, you can't see anything. Hi. So this is going to be all about Canadian stereotypes and how we don't actually do most of these things. Yes, some of these things are the right wording. Like, I think Americans say sled, we call it a toboggan, stuff like that. We don't say a boot, we say about, just like I think Americans say about. I don't know what the alternative would be. So at the end, I will go through and I will tell you what each of the terms that I use means so that you can understand some of the Canadian terms. I've never heard most of these. In fact, I actually had to look some of them up. I guess Americans and British people and everybody else, they hear more the prairie language. Just like everybody has north and south and everything, we've got more east and west, I guess. I guess some of these people do exist, but I have never met them in Canada myself. So here's some of the things you might expect from a Canadian. If you ever meet a Canadian, don't ask them if they say a boot. Look at that, eh? How about that, eh? We'll be eating well tonight, won't we? Drag her into the igloo and pour some maple syrup on her. Okay, don't forget to give the hooves to Snowy. You know how the pet polar bear likes moose. Sure thing, eh? Wanna shoot some puck while we wait for Ma to cook her up? Already got my toque, you hoser. You'll be the hoser this time, eh? Winner buys Timmy's. Alright, pick me up a double-double then. This game's gonna be brutal. Don't forget to put the toboggan away with the hockey stick. After dinner, we should grab some beaver tails for dessert. I only got a couple loonies and toonies, so we'll have to hit a bank because I want to get a 2-4 on the way home too. Stuff I said. Okay, so we don't eat moose. Polar bears are dangerous. We do not have pet polar bears. Not everybody likes maple syrup, or maple syrup, however you want to pronounce it. But the people that do like it, mostly little kids because it's really sweet. You can put it on female bacon, which is one thing that I didn't mention in here. Female bacon is, it kind of looks like ham with yellow seasoning on the outside or something. I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't actually know much about that. You could also call it Canadian bacon or back bacon. Something else that I didn't mention is something called poutine, which is French fries with gravy and then cheese curds on top of that. Shoot the puck means to play hockey, which I've never played a game of hockey in my life. I even made sure to not play it in gym class. I don't actually own a toque, but it's just a hat that covers your head and your ears. The lumberjacket wasn't even mine either. A hoser, to the best that I can describe it, is before we had Zambonis, which are the things that flatten the ice or something. The losing team would have to go down and hose down the rink and make it nice and flat for the next game. Timmy's is not quite like Starbucks. It's not as high class in a way. It's a chain of restaurants, kind of, where you can get donuts, sandwiches, tea, hot chocolate, coffee, probably some other things. I think it's named after a famous hockey player, which nobody should be surprised about, because it is Canada. A double-double is a coffee or tea with 2 sugar and either 2 milk or cream. So brutal is unfair or harsh. So if the game was going to be brutal, it would be no holding back. Beaver tails are not actual beaver's tails. A beaver tail is, in the States you have funnel cakes, which is just batter deep fried. Beaver tails are essentially kind of like that in the shape of a beaver tail. They could also be called elephant ears, which is another thing that we call them. I don't know what else you would call them in the States, but they're not real beaver tails. I don't think we eat beaver. Loony, toonie. 2-4 is a 24 case of beer. Just 2-4 instead of 24. This is the sign, by the way, that you could see barely behind my head. Zombies aren't Canadian. I can't do a Canadian accent. And I'm Canadian!